Yes.
Jackie Burke. Here. Scott Hickman.
Here.
Wayne Lukes.
Yes.
Bree Summers Wilson. Here. Joe Swenson. Jay Turner. Here.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Okay, a motion to approve the minutes, financial statements, and list of bills.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Jim. Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Okay, welcome everybody. I have one request to speak. Kelly, you want to come up?
I got into teaching years ago because I had some great teachers and some great administrators that kind of mentored me and kind of showed me what right and wrong and everything. Two things that they always told me, you know, one, and the biggest thing, you're never gonna get rich doing this, okay? And I'm not speaking for anybody except myself. I knew I was never gonna get rich doing this. I don't do it for the money, I do it because I love kids and I'm good at it, okay? And we're also told not to make blanket statements about kids at times. And when I read this article in the paper, and one of the quotes was talking about teachers making a pay freeze, and someone says they will eat their own young.
That'd be me.
I know it says that.
Yeah, that'd be me.
And I think that is very disrespectful and unprofessional for someone that sits on a board to categorize all of us, because you haven't talked to all of us. You haven't talked to me. And I take great offense to that, because I don't teach to get rich or for the money. And I just think that the wording, when you're sitting here making blanket statements, you need to be more aware of what you're saying and the type of words that you're saying. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Eric, do you have anything you need to present tonight?
No, I mean, we're in the middle of map testing. We're going to be testing basically all of March and April with Iowa assessments and everything. I'm sure that's one of the things that's coming up big and bad right now for us. It just seems like we're doing a lot of testing. We'll see where the state's going to go with that is the main thing. And that's the main thing going on in the high school right now.
I noticed you're doing a program for recognizing students. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit?
Well, the teachers actually came up with the program. They requested to come in and, you know, just show that there are some really great things going on with the students in Belmond-Klemme. So they decided to do a Student of the Month in certain areas, and if you go into the cafeteria here, you'll see that their pictures are posted. They came up at parent-teacher conferences and they put cardboard fold-outs together, explaining some of the great things that students are doing in this building, just to show a lot of people who actually get in the building that our students are doing a lot of different things and they're involved in a ton of things. So I think we need to recognize that the students are doing great things. So they put together that. They're going to continue it through the end of the year and hopefully into next year. And like I said, it was all teacher-led. They decided to do it. They came up with a committee and they ran with it. And I think it's a great idea.
Kevin, do you have anything?
Keep on working on the budget.
Sarah?
Mike, can I piggyback on what Eric was saying?
Sure.
A couple things that I know of that are going really great in the high school. I know our art students are displaying their artwork at McNider Art Museums. 6 were chosen for that, and over 50 were chosen to display at Clear Lake. And one of our students is the face of North Iowa art in the Globe Gazette. And I think that's really cool. And I also want to encourage all of you guys to use your complimentary passes to go to the musical. That's coming up. It's always a big production at Belmond-Klemme, and I'm sure this year will be no different.
Thank you. Sarah?
I brought a partner in crime today, because it actually originated with her, and I want to give her credit, but Chris Mallon came up to me one day and said, I have this crazy idea. And I said, okay, let's go. And so, Chris, you want to step on up? We're starting just right in the first week of our March Madness. It's a reading program where we're trying to get the community involved and parents involved, and really understanding the importance of reading. And I'll let Chris take over and talk a little bit about what we're doing this month.
Hi.
Hi.
This is an idea, I mean, every year we've done some kind of reading program, but we decided to make it a little different this year and involve the community. And we really did. It's really working out really well. We have a committee, we kind of call ourselves a Bronco Awareness, Reading Awareness Committee. You'll notice on the theater that they have, you know, on the marquee, they have Celebrate March Madness with Bronco readers. On the electronic sign by Come and Go, they have it there. We have done so many different things. Among those, we had a book fair. But on the 8th of March, we had high school people. We've been integrating the high school with it, and they've been really kind to come over here to our building. And we called it Iowa, or high school athletes read, and we had 44 high school kids came over at different 15-minute intervals and read to our kids. It was awesome. And they wore their Bronco shirts.
And some wore Dr. Seuss hats.
Yes, yeah, we decorated. And you'll see things on the Facebook, keep looking, because we're sending pictures and that, you know. And we're going to the Care Center and reading. We were invited to go to Linebaugh Center, and we're reading over there. And then next week we have guest readers coming, and at this point we have 32 guest readers coming in to read to us, from the community, which is awesome. And you were saying something about Greenbelt. They were going to bring
They're going to bring their mascot, Billy the Buck. It's really cute. She called me up and she said, "Is it okay if we, bring our mascot? A couple of us are coming in to read." I'm like, "Oh, sure, why not?"
It's pretty cool. We're also, as teachers, we're going to try this. We're going to go on the bus and read to kids on the bus. We're going to try that. We'll see how that goes. And we're also going to the different libraries. We're going to Klemme, we're going to Rowan, and we're going to the Belmont Library after school. And we're going to sit and just read to kids as they come up to us. Tomorrow we have a Silly Sally presentation, and this is a book character who's going to do something on bullying. And then on the 14th we have Ryan Sloth coming, and he's going to, he's an author, and he's going to talk about how we got into writing books. Let's see, we have the last week we kind of want to get some more community service in there, and the Honor Society is going to be doing a thing for Pennies for Patients, and they've got a little theme going with that. Every day we have these announcements, which are really cool. Can you kind of tell about the announcements on it? Because I just think it's so cool.
Yeah, and I had originally planned to show you, I've talked several times about the announcements that the kids do now. And because we have a shortened time, you can wait till the next one. But Mrs. Bram does, the 5th graders are doing the announcements in front of a green screen. And then they pop any kind of background they want behind them. Well, now they're in a library this week. And so they've been focusing on that, and when they do before they do their Go Broncos at the end, they're like, read, 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 and they're cheerleading, and the kids are watching them and cheering. But then the teachers each highlighted an author and sent along with it. So in addition to the announcements now, they have a flip chart that they go through highlighting a different author. And the older kids, some of them helped with it. Younger kids didn't, the teachers didn't. And we're doing something similar. Aaron Bungie with music has also added those kinds of things. So they're educational in addition to being informational. And I'll show you an example of that when we have a little bit more time.
They're really cool, and like, you can see that there's like somebody back there like directing them, because all of a sudden the little kids will be like. We're having a daily deer time. We took boxes of books to several downtown businesses that wanted them, so that their customers could maybe shop while the kids are reading a book. I also want to do a shout out because a bunch of businesses gave us things for reading incentives. The Belmont Theater gave us theater bugs. The Drive-In gave us some coupons for ice cream cones. Thrive-In gave us $250 for books. So we're using those for rewards. I can't say enough for all the things people have done. But our biggest thing is Thursday the 17th, and we're calling it a reading timeout, going with our March Madness theme. And it's from 5 to 6:30, and it's at Jacobson Elementary. And we're gonna have, during the day, we'll have a book swap for students, but that night, we're gonna have we were calling it an adult book swap, but we thought we should probably word it as book swap for adults. That's a little bit better. We're having it that night.
That happened to be written on the side of the box when I walked in the office. I'm like, Darla, you need to change that.
It's a learning process. And we've already had people that have brought in books that they're gonna come that night then and swap out, and we're gonna have those set up. Anyway, inside we're gonna have, thanks to our newly established PTO, they're gonna have a free will offering dinner, hot dogs, water, bars, and potato chips. All those things have been donated.
Okay, here's the disclaimer.
It's
We haven't had a meeting yet. We've had a ton of parents just jump in full, and they are doing all kinds of things, and community doing all kinds of things for us. So that's the eventual thing. We're not quite back to a PTO yet. I had somebody offended because they're like, I didn't get invited to the meeting. I was like, we haven't had one yet. So
we get a little excited. Anyway, so we're gonna have a dinner, and what we're gonna do, we have guest readers. We'll be sitting, some of us will be sitting down with guest readers on this or something. And we'll be sitting, and kids can come there, people can bring books and just read, or they can listen to the stories, or they can read to their own kids. And it'll just be what we call a reading timeout for that. Let's see, I've got one other thing. Oh yeah, we also did reading literature. We found some, and we put it together in a flyer, and we gave it to the businesses to put in the sacks of their customers. And it kind of promoted our March 17th date, and also just gave a little information for reading. So anyway, it's great to have something positive, and I think it's good. So, there we go.
if you haven't ridden the bus route lately, you don't understand how proud I am that they are willing to try this. I rode a couple of them, and actually it was they're going to have to talk pretty loud just to hear over the engines, not let alone the students. Even if they're quiet, they're going to have to talk loud. But that's going to be neat. Also, in some of our satellite towns, that's the drop-off point for the bus, are the libraries. So the timing is going to be really neat, where the kids will get off at the Klemme Library and then they can just go right inside, and staff will be reading. So that's something that we're really, really excited about. It's a way for us to include them, show them that we think they're important, and do a little PR work from our end of it. Okay. The other thing. Oh, go ahead.
Fantastic.
Thanks. These guys, I just say go and they go. Fill me in on the way. But and they're good about giving me the heads up on that, and I appreciate that. Sometimes I joke with them that sometimes it's about encouraging and getting them to take risks, and sometimes I push them off the cliff. And so I laugh at them all the time. It's like, you're next one, here, go. So that's how Annie got to the announcements, by the way. She spent a lot of time on it, and it was just like I handed it to her and I said, figure it out. And so she did. Now she'll be teaching the others. She'll be teaching the others. Anyway, Mr. Lukes, did you want me to talk at all about daycare tonight? I mean, it's
Sure. You got time.
not a formal presentation by any means, but it is something that I did have at United, and Mr. Lukes knew that. I had a before and after school. We ran summers too, we ran spring breaks. I can share with you my experience there. I think there are other programs that would be closer to what we would look at here. in that I was in a very, it was a very wealthy district, and my parents paid, while we were the cheapest childcare around, before and after school care, we charged a lot of money. And my parents were willing to pay for it because they were competing with Boone and Ames daycare providers and major centers. So, for example, the rates for this year for before, and they had the choice between part-time and full-time, and we ran 6:45 to 6 at night. And that was actually staffed with college students from Iowa State University who were elementary ed majors. So I knew they had a background and had some training, that they liked kids, and then they had that experience on their resume when they graduated from elementary ed, when they were done with their 4 years. So that was my staff. So I always had available staff because I always had a new group of freshmen coming in. And those kids would refer their friends. So that's an issue that I didn't have to deal with, that we would have to kind of figure out here. Part-time, before and after, ran $150 a month. Full-time before and after was $250 a month. It sounds like a lot of money, but when you break it down and compare it to other, like we compared to the different daycares, had a great secretary who just called the different daycares and get all the prices, and then we make sure that we were, in line with them. We ran a summer program that ran all summer except for the last 2 weeks because we had to get that particular room waxed and cleaned. They had the whole summer and they paid, I think it's $800 for the entire summer. That was a lot more hours instead of just before and after school. And then they included field trips and things like that. It was unique because of the situation I was in. I think if you really are serious about before and after school care, you need to look at some of the ones around us and in our similar situation. AGWSR built one, and theirs is a separate entity. And the new one in Ackley was after you, Mr. Nelson?
No, I told him I was there.
Okay,
We got a
so you were there when
$1.2
that,
million grant, USDA.
that would be a good one to look at. The Cal one is a foundation, the Cub Cadet one that they did, and it's on school property, but it was a separate entity and a separate fundraising for that.
Eagle Grove has a close one too.
Eagle Grove has another one. Clearing Goldfields is actually in their building, and they had a huge room in their building that kids go to before and after school. Theirs was actually funded through a 21st Century Learning Grant, and I haven't checked on them since I've been gone, so like in the past 6 years. But at the time, those 21st Century Learning Grants are a good way to start something, but then your community expects you to sustain it, and the grant runs out. And so you can't just yank that program back away from them, or something they've gotten free for 3 years, and all of a sudden they, don't get free anymore. So you have to be a little bit careful of some of those things. They ran into that. How are we going to fund this now and sustain it because our grant has run out? So those are some of the programs that you might want to look at. We're tight on room at Jacobson. To dedicate a room, I might have a room next year, but the following, depending on my section sizes, there's not going to be a consistent space. So that's something that we can look into. Mrs. Mallon, again, she's the crazy lady I have to keep a roll on, was panicking because she took early retirement, and what the heck am I gonna do? Kind of, this is my identity, like we all, feel like we are teachers. And so she kind of was brainstorming some ideas as well, while I'm still actually separate from her, thinking, what can we do, what can we do? Do you want to share a few of your ideas?
Sure, I mean, basically, I just want to talk, to me, there's a real need for it, obviously, we know that. And I'm one of those people that are work very early in the morning, and those of us that are there, we see kids coming before 7 in the morning. And we don't have supervision until after 7:30, 7:45, breakfast starts. There's a real need, especially when we have a factory that opens up at 7 o'clock, or has their shift start at 7. There's a need for these kids to go somewhere, and I hear it from parents an awful lot. So I want to put a plug in for that. I also think that this program could, in the afternoon, it could include a healthy snack, which for some may be, another opportunity for some healthy food. It could help our enrollment. It's like a lot of parents are in dire need of a place for their children when they aren't in school. Did you want me to stand up? I also was gonna say that, I foresee it maybe going from 6:30 to 7:45 in the morning, and then 3:15 to 5:30. And most importantly, those days, those Wednesdays when we have meetings, maybe it could start, at 1 o'clock when the kids are dismissed, for those Wednesdays. It'd be an opportunity or somewhere where the kids are going, and it would be an environment where it's not just, video games and that kind of thing. I kind of looked at it as, let's see, like each morning could have an exercise time and an organizational time, conversation time, age-appropriate thinking activities, buddy reading, overseer reading time, quiet reading time. The objective would be to provide a safe environment for the students with opportunities for engaging activities. And obviously we'd have breakfast at the school, so that's available, and then there'd be supervised recess after that. So, that's the morning. And then after school, it could also have a nutritious snack, and possibly each day you could have it themed. That's where I go kind of crazy. One day you could have board game day. I am paired up with the kindergarten with the older students. One day could be a craft day. One day could be putting on plays, literature day. One day could be a fitness day. One could be a drawing day, and the list goes on. Every afternoon would have some kind of reading involved with it, though. Also, I think homework help should be integrated within that as well. So, I could go on and on. I won't, but
I think her original proposal to me was like 4 pages.
it's right here.
So anyway, it's something that we've been, kicking around, and then one idea will spur the next idea, and, this is kind of all the further, it's just kind of been tossed back and forth between Chris and I. So, if it's something that you want us to, look seriously at it, we can start doing that.
Are you looking at a grant that would be available to maybe get us started?
The 21st Century Learning Grant, which is really one of those that's meant to do some of these things, it's actually due December 1st, so we're not looking at the beginning of the year. There are some local things, grants that we could look into. I'm actually working on some things for the softball and baseball diamonds through those. I'm not sure, and I do need to do more research as far as how many times do they want to get hit up by me, kind of thing. And so, those are some of the things that you can look at.
How are you thinking about staffing it? Perhaps with someone who is taking early retirement and is seeking her identity as
Good deeds. That would be something, that would be something that, obviously you went
how
to
does
the correct.
Cal staff theirs?
There's a separate entity, they've got, they actually have a hiring process.
Adults, not
Adults,
students.
right, they have an adult group that's there, and they just shuttle them over to the school when it's time for school. They have a separate playground and everything, it's back behind the school if you ever go back there. It's just a little modular house that they put, so it wasn't super expensive. But those are some ideas. Okay?
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to employment. And in our packet, we have information on the recommendation for physical education for the elementary school. Sarah, did you want to talk more about this? I'm assuming you engaged.
I can. I apologize for getting the recommendation, I didn't have a name in the packet, because we just finished that up. We ran interviews last week. We originally called 5 for interviews. 1 withdrew, so we were down to 4. And we made I had a committee, I had the retiring teacher, Mrs. Kern was on that, a gen ed teacher, and myself, so there were 3 of us that, when I say we, who they were. We ran the set of 4 interviews then, and from that, it came down to 2. We took the top 2 and had a teach-off, and they came in and they both came in at first, they had a kindergarten class that they taught, and then they had a 3rd grade class that they taught. And then we had a short break in between, and then the next one came in and did that. So that's how we ran this particular one. I don't always do a teach-off, but when you have two that you're trying to decide, you want to see what they can do in the classroom. And so that's why we did it that way this particular time. I'm recommending Travis Owens for that position.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, there's been a recommendation to hire Mr. Travis Owens as our physical education teacher. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Sure. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion passes. The next employment would be Mark Schmidt, Industrial Technology. Mark, you want to stand so everybody can see you? Thank you.
Present.
Do you want to, I don't know if you have anything prepared or what you're planning on teaching for?
A lot of it's up for your discussion. I'd like to make some changes in the curriculum. I mean, teaching woods is a lot of fun, but I don't think teaching as much woods as what's been done in the past is probably most beneficial to our students. I want to bring back in some more core curriculum of the CAD and the drafting and move that into some of the new technologies, including like the 3D printer, the CNC routers, and we have a vinyl cutter down there also. And utilize some of those things that are going to help make the kids more employable. We had talked about moving me into teaching welding also, which, you know, North Iowa needs welders in a horrible way. And I'd enjoy teaching that. It's been 20-some years since I actually taught welding, but a lot of those things don't change what I had taught prior, and I've taken some classes up at NIAC to renew my teaching certification, and those were welding classes. And I picked up some new things and got to do use some welding equipment that, as growing up in this school system, we never had available. We do now. And so it'd be fun to be able to introduce those things to the kids. I guess, does anybody have questions for me, or?
Do you anticipate doing the building trades thing again, ever?
I honestly, no. And this is my reasoning. It was a nice program when we ran it, and that was a different time. Belmont's not big enough of a town to run a building trades program. And I've been involved in the building trades industry now. This summer is 30 years that I've been involved in it. And the last 15 making my living from doing that. Do we need people involved in that? Do we need employees? Horribly. And I want to do some introductory classes, but as far as running a program like that, in a one-person department, it's too hard to split up your time and do justice to everything else that needs to be taught along with that. If we had a situation where our town was growing and we had multiple employees in the industrial ed department, then it would be feasible. That answers the question.
Well, thank you, Mark. Okay, is there a motion to employ Mark Schmidt?
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? If not, those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no? No. Okay, motion passes. Now we'll have a presentation from the certified proposals.
Good evening, I'm Jolene Smith, and I'm here representing the Belmond-Klemme Education Association. And we're here tonight to present our initial proposal. While Jody passes it out, I will introduce our team for this year. It includes myself, Jody Turner, Angie Kinseth, and Kim Coolers. I'll be real brief about our proposal. It includes some changes to the language in the master contract. It also includes some changes and increases to the salary and insurance, and also to the Schedule C, which is the supplemental pay. The total package altogether is a 5.46 package. Any questions? Otherwise, we're looking forward to receiving your initial proposal as well, and we are ready to sit down at the table.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jody.
And a representative from the non-certified staff.
I'm not gonna be as jazzy as she was. I'm Deanna Branstad, I'm presenting for the non-certified. And we are asking for 85 cents on the dollar for a raise, $50 on the insurance. We also have some language, I'll just let you guys read that on your own. And our package comes to a 6.57%. And they wanted me to ask you guys when you guys would be returning this package. I don't know why.
They'll be determined later. Okay, thank you, Deanna. Okay, open gym.
Kevin's here.
Yes.
Come on up.
First, I'd start with, actually, technically, I don't know that I need to be here. I filled out, this process has gone on for a year. And I've dealt through the administration with trying to get NIAC to do it, and that didn't happen. Supposedly the city, and they didn't want to do it. And this is all per the administration telling me that. You have, obviously, they didn't present you with the policy that we're referring to, or did you guys get it printed out, the 508.2? And, I mean, it specifically says, in keeping with good community relations, student-school activities will not be scheduled on Wednesday night beyond 6:30 p.m. and whenever possible. It is the responsibility of the principal to oversee the scheduling of school activities for compliance with this policy. The issue is, I'm not a school entity. I'm doing this for the public. When specifically I first asked, I was told this needs to be an open gym with no exclusions. It's pretty clear cut. So originally I was told Sundays were not available, nor Wednesdays were not available, which are the 2 days I asked for, because there's no conflicts. Well, Sunday has now been accepted, but Wednesday's not. And my issue still comes back to, I'm simply following board policies, that I'm not a school entity. And part of that is also that there's conflicts every other night. So I mean, it's hard to schedule a gym and be consistent with having an open gym. So people have asked, well, what are you doing at the open gym? And that was one of the things. My initial thought was pretty much basketball, but it's baseball, softball season, so I had asked, would it be okay if they brought soft softballs and baseballs to catch and to throw? And that was basically okayed as well. My point is, I'm trying to get kids to be healthy and athletic because we have a dire need here. And we're basically the district that does the least, if you call around, in terms of open gyms and creating student experiences. And so that's what I'm here for. I had requested 4 to 6 on Sunday and 6 to 8 on Wednesdays. There are some other conflicts possibly on Wednesday night that are not school affiliated, but for my family, they don't do anything till 7:30. There's a lot of students that don't go to church. That seems to be the one issue that everybody's kind of talking about is church. I'm not trying to conflict with church. I mean, ultimately, I'm opening a gym. If it's all adults, it's all adults. If there's students who come, that would be based on what their parents' choices are. That's not for me to tell them yes or no. My kids are Catholic. They will go to church at 7:30 on Wednesday because that's their scheduled time. But they may come for an hour or 45 minutes beforehand. So the intent of this is not to create conflict or cause a problem. It's basically just to try to get time in the gym for kids to be athletic and active. And so, I mean, I had texted Kirk when he said you need to come to the board, and my always was, I'm about policies, procedures. I mean, I'm not asking to change anything, I'm just saying I'm within the policies that you have. And so I don't really know ultimately why I'm here. But, I mean, I get that I'm here, and I'm okay with that, but,
We're glad you're here.
so, well, thank you. So, is there any questions?
How have your Sundays been going so far?
We've only done it twice.
And
And good, great turnout. And, and I understand the whole philosophy with Sundays can be a little controversial to people too, but that's why we try to go as late as possible, not go at night, because my thought is as a parent, try to get kids back in the mode to get ready for school, shower, relax, get ready for school the next day. Don't go at 9 in the morning because, I mean, that's church time, if you're a church goer. So we intentionally did 4 to 6. Jeremy Buchanan and Mark Jennison kind of coordinated it. Originally, Jeremy sent me the text and I told him to go ahead and do it, but I guess he was kind of fearful of trying to get anything accomplished. I said, well, I'll go ahead and do it. So we kind of rotate on and off basically who's available on a given
at the
weekend.
high school gym.
It is the high school gym. And like I said, when I had requested, I don't even care. I'd asked for 6 basketballs, boys and girls, and that was it. And as far as the softballs, I had talked with Roger after I had talked with Kirk about it, and we haven't actually done that. Because like I said, I'm just there to try to give kids opportunities and chances. So, I'm not trying to go against a ministerial association. I'm not trying for you guys to bend a policy. I'm none of that, so.
What were the hours again for Wednesday night?
Wednesday 6 to 8, and Sunday 4 to 6.
Who's gonna clean up and who's gonna lock up?
Basically, it's myself, Jeremy, or Mark. That's how the building request thing happened. And basically, we were given a fob in my name, which they use, and we have like 2 door blocks. We use the auditorium doors, by the student center, and they come in and like we've told them, basically, you can come to the gym, to the restroom in the student center, but there's nowhere else to be or go. I mean, we have cameras for, if I'm in the gym monitoring, it's also hard to monitor a hallway, but I mean, our expectations are that kids are known where they be and what the purpose is. The purpose is to get some exercise and hopefully improve skill development. In basketball, like I said, we're not doing volleyball or anything like that. I mean, in the future, if that's a possibility, it's open gym, but it just becomes more technical to get all that equipment in and out. Originally, if you remember years ago, that's why I created the VCBC and had Parker going, because that's what this should have been for. You have an open gym and you use it, but that's here nor there now, so.
We need to make a motion on it?
Well, I don't, we have to change policy to get 6 to 8 on Wednesday, I believe, because their policy says,
Well,
But it's
that's,
school activity.
right, this is not, that's what I'm saying is, I don't believe I mean, I'm not asking you to violate your policy. This is a school policy that says he is supposed to monitor. This isn't a school activity. This is a public entity that's using the school on a Wednesday night. It's not school. There's no paid coaches, there's no paid teachers, there's no paid aides.
Right now, we meet with the ministerial group a couple times a year, and we've told them we will honor that time. And so if you're gonna change it, you need to change your policy and publish it ahead of time.
That's not a school activity.
School facilities. Another issue is you're gonna include at least one other group, and that has to be wrestling, because they have an opportunity also.
Well, I mean, I guess I would disagree with that. I'm opening the gym, I'm not opening the wrestling room. That would be like
They
saying,
did have to be other people do that.
Right.
But you can't exclude them.
well, I mean, that would be like saying I need to open the football field and I need to open the base. I mean, I mean, my point is I'm just opening a gym to try to get kids an opportunity. If you can, I mean, I could probably find a wrestling guy that'll come in and open that up. I mean,
I know they will request the same, and they should be.
Can you still open up the weight rooms for the public?
not to my knowledge.
That's
No. The other thing I would encourage the board is, and I talked to Kurt, is this policy would technically be almost like out of date. I mean, it's supposed to be reviewed every 5 years, and it's 07 according to this.
And then it's been reviewed, and that date apparently hasn't changed, but they've done every chapter since I've been here. I actually had the school board association come in and review it.
And the issue is, since it's a school building, that still falls underneath this, even though it has nothing to do with any teachers or school. Is that what I'm getting from what you're saying?
I'm just saying we gotta make sure it's open to all the groups. If you're gonna open it, you would do it correctly, change your policy and then.
I don't think we want to open it to any group. I don't think we want to slide down that slippery slope. All of a sudden, kids are required to come in on Wednesday nights to work out for basketball or wrestling.
And I'm here to tell you
It's not
that
about
it
that.
has nothing to, I'm not encouraging the board to say we can have wrestling practice and basketball. I'm not encouraging that. And so, you know, this is where I kind of went sideways with Kirk and Bill about it, is that I am following your policy as it is written. I believe he's actually asking it to be changed. Because the one thing I had brought up, which I then struggle with, is I have never seen in the paper that we vote to suspend this policy in the summer when we play baseball and softball. Because we do schedule baseball and softball, which is a school activity.
on Wednesday nights.
Absolutely.
I think that's because, you know, most church programs suspend during the summer.
Right,
But I take your point.
right. And that's the whole crux of this, is it's not meant to be a church exclusion.
Right.
And that's why I'm not here to battle that. I mean, because my own kids are a part of
I
that.
get that.
And I don't think they're scheduling any school activity, it's just open. They wanna come, they come.
And that's the key is, I mean,
They don't.
It's an
if
open.
it's an open gym, and that's my thing, is like, I use my kids as the example. They will go to church, whether there's open gym or not. I mean, that's my job as a parent, or anyone else's. So, you know, Kirk was, what happens if kids show up? And I said, you've told me I can't exclude them, and I don't want to exclude it, it's open to everybody. So to me, that's with the parent. And I'm not here, I mean, I would talk to any minister, any priest, anything, because there's a lot of churches that don't even have anything on Wednesday nights. I don't know how many, because I did not call around to ask. I know Catholics do,
Lutherans do.
and Lutherans. So, and I don't know what that, I mean, because this really isn't about church and school, so.
Isn't it a great community involved?
And I think other schools too are way ahead of us on this also. Encourage that, they have many nights of open gyms, and that improves their athletics, which gets kids to come too.
And the first 2 weeks has been very, very good turnout. You know, as the summer comes and kids maybe go to the pool, and I had said that, I only requested this till May 15th, and I said I would come back in and I'll do it all summer. But then coaches can actually have time with their You know, and I'm
Some
not,
may not be available, but construction and other stuff.
Right, at the high school.
and I'm fine, I mean, I get that.
But Jim's been down for a full month, finishing Jim. Be careful.
Which
Steve,
one?
would you be okay with just letting it ride with this Sunday trial thing for the rest of the school year, and then we could revisit it, maybe?
I mean, I really like to do it twice, just because that's the idea of getting kids in there multiple
I get
times to
that,
work
but-
with. That's what I'm here for, because Sunday's already approved,
I get that.
so.
Where did you make a motion?
Yeah, you can.
Pardon me?
You want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we have open gym on Wednesday nights from
6 to 8.
6 to 8.
Clarify, he's talking kids and adults, or just adults?
Open gym. Who are the ones?
Okay, there's been a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second
Sure. Is there any more discussion?
Can I ask, if it doesn't happen, can you guys tell me why it doesn't? I mean, like I said, I think I'm here following the policy. Just if it doesn't pass, that's all I'm asking, is that I would have that.
I just still think we're conflicting with church tonight. That's my only draw.
I would feel more comfortable if we discussed it with the ministerial association before we did the next one.
I'm having a problem with the fact that I don't believe this is an action item.
It's
Right.
on the agenda.
No movement on it. And there's nothing that says action upon open gym. Discussion, yes.
Well, I mean, technically, by
And
the
I'm
way.
not trying to read on your parade, Steve, I have no problem.
Right, but by where it's placed on your agenda, it is an action item.
I kind of come with what Jackie said. Get by this year with the Sundays that we've been, and then we look at next year. Next
So-
fall, excuse me, next
Or
fall.
can we table it till our next meeting?
We can always do that.
Well, it-
That way it'll give us time to call people and find out what's going on.
That being the case, it has to be voted on, seconded, and if
Right.
it fails for vote, then we rotate.
But we'll almost be past the time of having this open gym.
Yes.
Okay, there's been a motion for open gym from 6 to 8 on Wednesdays. All those in favor, please say yes.
it. Yes.
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 Those opposed, no?
No.
No.
Okay, I will roll call.
Sharon?
Yes.
Jackie?
No.
Scott?
Yes.
Lynn?
Yeah.
Teresa?
Yes.
Yes. Jim?
Jim.
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Okay, passes.
Thank
you. On Wednesdays.
Thank you.
Yep. We're gonna table the summer school dates for now, we don't have that all set. Moving on to lawn care bids. I think Steve must have wrote this out.
Yes.
So everybody had their,
We recommend to stay the same as last year from the doors, and the price is the same. The only separation there is the chemical is done separately, and we have to do this year's crabgrass time. His recommendation is the 16.5, which includes both chemical and oil.
do we still have the lawnmowers that we leased last year?
Yes, they will go back in July, unless we remember.
So do the other two bids include chemicals also?
No, they do not include chemicals.
Were they unable to bid on that? or-
Probably not. but I
Some,
was
you have to have a license.
Yeah, right.
They're not licensed.
And Jim was just-
They did that.
Does Dort's have their own mowers?
Yes.
They would use their own equipment. So in July, we would hand back our
a month.
344.60.
Is that per mower or just?
That's both of them.
That's both of them, okay.
Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make that motion that we hire Dort's Lawn Care for mowing and chemicals.
Is there a second?
So,
Okay, there's been a motion to accept the bid from Dort's Lawn Care. All those in favor, please say yes.
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 Sorry. I just had one question. So if it was $345, which was only $4,000, but then did we pay labor on top of that?
Yes.
No. Was
Yes.
it more expensive than this?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's pretty similar, but it's very, very plain there.
That way we don't have to worry about employees.
Right, I just didn't know how it raised salary.
All right, let's try that one more time.
Sorry.
Is there any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor of having Dort's Lawn Care, please say yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion passes. The sidewalk update for the baseball and softball diamonds.
You don't want to do your sidewalks before you do the netting or the posts or any moving, otherwise trucks will start breaking up. So I think you want to go in succession order then. I'm looking at bids and that now, and it's about Booster Club money.
And we're looking into a grant to help pay for this, is that right? And
The netting,
for the netting,
that's what I'm working on.
okay. And we want to wait until we have the grant also, is that what we're?
Well, then, secure funding from other groups also.
Do you think that will be, Sarah, will that be something that will be soon, or is that gonna be like a year down the road, or do we even know?
I'm shooting for soon, I'm not sure what all the deadlines are.
It will be awarded soon too, though, I think?
I just got the amounts and the information. Just get-
I think the discussion is we probably need to wait until we get all, everything gathered together. Yes, right now this is just information. Let's move on to the go-off resolution. We got a packet on that.
And the bonds have an adjustment to $225,000. They'll pay off the escrow and that earlier, as per the 2016 resolution. This is all pledged to payment of principal for the ones that come out in 2019. And that's the one we're talking about, we're going to pay off. Taxes are going to take a big drop, so that's when you want to plan ahead to do either construction or something you really need. Otherwise, you can see a big difference in both of them. Right now, we're trying to keep it the same. We just received this from the bonding agent, so we just correct this, approved to pay off the balance in 2019. Remember, this started by reducing bonds that are over 4% to $1.25 million. This is part that applies to that. One of the best things financially we've done here.
Does the board have any other questions on this? I think one of these days we're gonna have to have Matt Gillespie back and talk to us again, but I think this is probably necessary to.
He's only come back.
So I guess I'm looking for a motion.
so
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any more discussion? No, all those in favor of the bond, please passes.
Before you adjourn, I skipped a line report. I want to hit a couple things very quickly. One, it's not a coincidence that our leading scorers are best in 3 counties. Teachers here work really, really hard. And if you go to our bathrooms and walls, you'll see how focused they are on that. Doing a great job on that. Summer school is a big issue. Third grade retention, and some of the things are tweaked a little bit this week in the morning restroom. We need to check that out. But it's a great tribute to our staff that our report card is better than anybody in 3 counties. That's something you want to be very proud of. It's a direct result of our staff. Speech on Saturday is, we're at state, and 3 years ago we did not have speech. We have a busload of kids going, and I went to the one in Clear Lake, outstanding, and we're gonna do it again at state on Saturday. It's a long bus drive, they're leaving at 6 a.m. I think, but it's something to be very proud of. And the last one, we need to give credit to Sugar Pie downtown. They provided a meal for all the elementary staff at great expense to them, and we're very appreciative of that. They promised to do something for the high school there, but it was very, very appreciated, and staff can tell you that what they had there was outstanding. But again, local people contributing, we really appreciate it. The reading one is huge, and I really like the fact that we're going to 4 towns. Your presence is needed, and very, very much so. I'm hoping that we have a great turnout for that. I'm also looking for people to read continuous, not just one-time hit. We would love to have parents, grandparents, brothers and sisters come in, just contact each school and they'll say, yeah, we want to come in and read. So they're doing a wonderful job with that, so we appreciate it. Thank you.
Sounds like a great program for the reading, that's making it fun for the kids to read. That's great. I was just wondering if we could have a committee to go through our budget again. I'd like to be on that committee, and I was wondering if there was a couple of volunteers that would also be on the committee to go and discuss.
I think you need everybody involved in this, because that's pretty crucial.
I want to have 3 people discuss it with an administrator, and then we'll bring it back. Some of the things brought out, I don't feel should be public at this point.
Well, remember, we're working backwards from April 15th.
Yeah.
So could we set up a special meeting where we could all meet and the committee could meet before that, before the next board meeting?
Yeah, we can set up a special meeting if we need to. I'd just like to have,
I think we're gonna have to have a special.
next week's pretty full.
Right,
So,
right.
The following week though is spring break.
Yeah, after Easter.
I guess I'm asking if I can get 2 volunteers, Teresa and Jake. Thank you. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Sure. Is there a second?
Second.
Teresa. All those in favor, please say yes.
Do we need to set a time for that special meeting? Because we won't be meeting, we're just gonna send out a note.
We're gonna have to meet to
Yeah.
respond to the certified, non-certified.
All those in favor of adjournment, please say yes.
Yes.
Okay.